Do you like it? How about this one?
That I didn't see coming.
Hey, it's Trueflight here. Thanks for tuning in to an all-new episode of Game On. Today is Friday, June 3rd, 2016. I'm your host for tonight, Trueflight, and I got a special guest on the line. We're going to take a minute and get to him in just a minute, but we got a really good show for you tonight. We're going to talk about Mothership, a new game on Kickstarter right now, and looks to be really cool, kind of skirmish, fast, fun game. And more into that when we get to our guest. For now, if you're interested in being a part of the show, have any topics or games that you'd like us to cover, or you just want to get in touch with me, you can do so in a few ways. You can follow me on Twitter. It's Trueflight_EQ2. I post my thoughts, updates on the show, and other things there, as well as links to my videos when they go up. You can also find me on Board Game Geek under the username Ender02. They won't let me change it over there without making a whole new account, and I'm not going through that whole ordeal, so have to deal with that the way it is. And you can also check out my YouTube channel where I post game reviews, gameplay videos, podcast episodes, and more. And that's www.youtube.com/users/trueflights with an S. This last couple weeks, been settling into our new house. We moved. I talked about that in the last episode. We're finally getting everything settled in the way we want. Managed to get in a few more board games. Introduced a friend of mine to Arcadia Quest. We played through a couple levels, as well as my wife played her first game of the campaign on there. So had a lot of fun playing that. Did some more Firefly with the kids. We just recently picked up the I never can say that right, but the last expansion for Firefly. So we have everything for that game now. Can't wait to play and have everything in play. Haven't gotten to do that yet. Did some play testing for Ceti, and actually absolutely loving that game. We got in Egyptian Rat Screw, which is a game I picked up. It's something I used to play back in high school. Absolutely loved the game back then. We played a rather violent version of it, but bought it just to have in my collection. Got that last week, so there's a video for that already up on the channel. And Centauri Saga is another one I backed a little while ago on Kickstarter. Should be up any day now as soon as I get my copy in. It was holiday week here in the States, so we kind of mail got backed up, and I haven't got mine yet. And it's killing me seeing all these other people put their reviews up, and I haven't even gotten my game yet. But that's definitely on the way as well. And I have a couple friends interested in starting to do more gaming nights, so hopefully we'll get more gameplays in and get more videos and pictures and things up to you guys. That's pretty much all I've been playing the last couple weeks, though. Some video games I've been playing. Star Trek Online had a recent update with a new expansion, and a lot of time, of course, in the crew, which I finally managed to get running more stable. For those who don't follow the channel or whatnot as much, my computer, a couple months ago, I got a brand new gaming rig in January, and the cooling pump went in it. And unfortunately, it turns out, I got that all replaced and everything was fine. Now we're having more and more trouble. And it turns out, I think that when the cooling pump went, the chip overheated, and I think I fried out my CPU a little bit. And now here we are a few more months down the line, and it seems to be having more and more issues. So sadly, I'm a little short on funds right now, so I'm kind of dealing with it for now, but hoping I can get it replaced. Sadly, because it was due to the cooling pump, I don't think it's covered under warranty, so checking on that, but it looks like I'm going to have to buy a new one. Probably going to go with something a little bit lower. Right now, I got that 5 gigahertz chip in there, which is nice, but it's so hot. And I really don't need that much processing power. I got it mostly for processing videos and clips for YouTube. So I'll have to wait a little bit longer with a slower chip, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. So we'll see about that. They're also quite a bit cheaper. That chip is not cheap. So that's what's been going on here anyway. And right now I'm involved in a bunch of Kickstarters. Unfortunately, I got on board very slow, and I missed out on getting in on the demo copies and things for reviewers. Working on that, thanks to my guest here tonight, Peter. I managed to get myself on a list of game reviewers, so hopefully we can start getting more copies ahead of time, prototypes and things to review. Hopefully that works out, but for now, we're looking at Arcadia Quest Inferno, still waiting on that. Great looking game. I'm a huge fan of the Arcadia Quest franchise. That did get pushed back till October so that they can do some updates to the dragons and make them kind of cool. So eagerly awaiting that one. Of course, Ceti, I've talked about multiple times on here. That's coming November-ish, and really looking forward to that one. Masmorra, Dungeons of Arcadia. It's kind of an offshoot of Arcadia Quest, and eagerly awaiting that one. It's more of a co-op, or not really a competitive, but a has some take that aspects. But it's a dungeon explorer game. Also has some components that are compatible with the original Arcadia Quest. That's scheduled November-ish. I'm very doubtful on that one. All of Cool Mini or Not's campaigns seem to be delayed at least 3 months. So November is their projected date. I'm guessing probably not till January on that one, but I'm holding hope. It's a separate game. It's a different franchise, so maybe we'll see one closer to a projected date, but not going to hold my breath on that. One of the more recent ones I got on board with is Soul: Last Days of a Star. That campaign actually ended yesterday, if you're hearing this on Friday. It was a really cool looking game, and I'm looking forward to doing an interview with those guys probably next episode for you. So stay tuned for that. It's a interesting game about the sun is going supernova, and you have to build these facilities to siphon power from the sun to power your ships so that you can break orbit and get out of our solar system in time to survive the shockwave of the sun blowing up. But at the same time, all of the facilities and things you build siphon power from the sun, which accelerates the sun going supernova. So it's kind of a risk and reward type thing. It has some co-op aspects. You're trying in the end to be the final person to get the farthest away from the star, but at the same time, you can use other people's equipment and they get a bonus, you get a bonus for using it. Saves you resources using theirs, but they get some of the perks from using it. So it's really an interesting game. I love the concept. I love the look of it, and can't wait to get my hands on that one. That's due to be released, I believe they said January 2017. So long wait on that one, but definitely a very nice game. And I love the way that things have been changing from the prototypes to the final version. And then we have Mothership here. It's a game we're going to talk about a lot on today's show. I got onto that one right after the campaign started, right after he sent out his demo copies. So unfortunately, I missed my chance at it, but looks like a really cool game. And I'm not going to go into too much detail here with that because that's pretty much what most of the show is going to be about. But you'll hear more about that as the show goes on. And that one's actually still going on. The campaign ends on June 14th. So check that out. And finally, the last current Kickstarter I'm in on is the Xayah Embers of a Forsaken Star, which is the new expansion to Xayah Legends of a System. Absolutely love that game. Love everything I've seen about it. I've played it once with some friends at the store. Unfortunately, nobody locally owns it, and it's been kind of pricey. It's a really cool game. Comes with these metal coins and things. Components are top-notch, painted miniatures. And unfortunately, that's pushed the price just out of my range, so I haven't been able to pick up a copy yet. I threw in a little bit on the Kickstarter just so I can follow it and see where it goes from there. The new game itself is only $40, but they have a bundle pack that includes the original game and the expansion for $115. Still kind of up there, but it's a steal for what the game's going for nowadays. So I may get in on that if I can get the funds before that one ends. It's got a while. That one just started. So If you're interested in that, check that out on Kickstarter. They've also got a Board Game Geek page for that. Anybody who's a fan of the original Zaya is probably already on there and backed it, but if you're not a fan, go check it out and you can see what Zaya is all about. It's kind of a 4X space exploration game where it's very sandboxy. You can pretty much go anywhere, do anything. And the new expansion addresses a couple of the issues with the original game, as well as introducing some new ships and things. So definitely some really cool stuff and add on to that, as well as the base game was cool on its own. You start out with one of a number of starter ships, and you have a layout of your hold, and you can buy different, they call them outfits, which were like shield generators and weapon systems and things, and they had to fit in your hold, kind of like Tetris pieces. And as you gain money, you could buy a better ship. Bigger ships had cool new abilities, bigger holds, and things like that. And it's really an interesting game all around. Little time consuming to play, but no more so than things like Firefly, which I've talked about on the show before. So definitely check that one out. And that's pretty much it for Kickstarters we're looking at right now. I know there's a ton of them on the market right now. It's kind of saturated, but those are the ones I'm personally interested in. Definitely let me know if there's some other stuff that caught your eye that I haven't talked about, and we'll check those out as well. But for now, that's what I'm looking at to give you guys an idea. And without wasting any more time, we'll get right to our interview. I'm here with a special guest today. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. I'm Peter. I'm from Australia, and I'm the creator of Mothership. My day job is working at a bank, which is very boring. But in my spare time, I do a whole bunch of creative things, and one of those things is making games.
Very cool. And right off the bat, I got to ask you something that I ask of all our guests. What kind of games are you currently playing right now? Mothership, obviously, but what else?
Yes, because definitely Mothership. We actually had a game of that just a couple of days ago. But aside from that, when I get spare time, as far as video games are concerned, I'm playing Off-World Trading Company for PC, which is an RTS game. Very fun. I'm trying to get a start on Lego Avengers. But I don't have much time at the moment. In the board game space, the very last game I just played was Rummakin, I think. Yeah, Rummakin. That's that's like a little tile game that your grandma has in her house. Every grandma's got Rummakin.
I think it's called Rummy Cube in
Rummy Cube?
US.
Maybe
if it's the same game.
That tile thing, and one of them's got like a little weird face on it, and
yep,
that'd
be what it is. Just a different name here is all.
I knew about it for a while, but I only learnt about it like a couple of months ago, and I've just been playing it non-stop. It's weird how addictive it is. So,
and some of those classic ones are popular. My kids love to play. What's the one we play here all the time? Life, which is a really old.
Oh yeah.
The new one's very strange though.
Yeah,
they added all sorts of weird things to it. There's like deck of cards that go with it now that didn't used to. It's very strange. It's all new to them, so they think it's fine, but it's weird to anybody who played the old one. So to get us back on topic here, real quick, in a simple description, can you tell us what Mothership's about?
Oh, in the simplest way, Mothership is a 2 to 6 player space fleet game where you move ships around a board and blow each other up.
That's a pretty simple explanation.
Simple as you get.
Now, what's the actual story behind the game? And you kind of already went over what we're trying to accomplish with it.
Yes. Well, look, the blurb on the back of the box says, the great space disagreement of 5406 has forced your entire colony to flee into the dark depths of outer space. But you're not alone. Other colonies too seek refuge from the war. They all scramble to harvest the valuable resources on undiscovered planets. And your mission is to destroy all the other colonies. Why? Because diplomacy is boring. Shoot them first and confirm if they were enemies later.
I love that.
The idea is that you're trying to basically secure as many planets as you can for your colony to ensure their survival.
I really do like the way that the game turned out. I haven't gotten to play myself, but I watched all the play videos and checked out all the material that's out there, and definitely my kind of thing.
Yeah, look, I'm really happy that it seems a lot of people have really. Um, I'm surprised how much people can get into the game without actually seeing it. Like they're happy with the videos and they're happy with the pictures. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
And I checked out the promotional videos. I think there's two. There's a how to play, and then the original campaign for Kickstarter, the video for that. And they were extremely funny and entertaining. And I love
I was
your references to various sci-fi and things in there.
Yeah, I was a little bit I had to be really careful about how I use the references of all those. I think I get away with it because the game sort of kind of like it's almost like a parody or satirical take on sci-fi, because it doesn't take itself too seriously, as well as you've probably guessed from the videos. It is a very light-hearted game, and because of that I can put in all kinds of heavily veiled references to video games and sci-fi and basically everything I love about science fiction and blowing up spaceships. So if you've got a keen eye for that sort of thing, you can probably notice a lot of it on the project page. But when you get the game yourself, you'll be like, wait a second, I think I've seen that before in something. So some stuff new, some stuff very old as well.
You hooked me with the clip that had Captain Picard quoting the transfer all power to weapons, all power to shields.
Yep.
Divert all power to the engines.
That was your sense of humor and then the way you presented things in those videos that got me hooked on the game to start with. And then the more I found out about it after that, the more I liked it. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, the tone was something that I set at the very outset of the game. I appreciate that people like, heavy, dark, and gritty gaming experiences, and I definitely like that from time to time. But I really didn't think. I just felt like for what Mothership wanted to be, taking itself too seriously would just take away from the fun of it, I thought. So
where did the whole idea for this come from? What got you started to make it as a game to begin with?
So for a very long time, my friends and I played this awesome war game. It's called Brick Wars. So it's basically Warhammer, but everything's made out of Lego. Right, so it's for poor people who can't afford Warhammer. Although nowadays, actually, Lego's pretty expensive. But anyway, we played a heavily modified version of the game that had set armies and special abilities for each armies. And when I say armies, I mean like ninjas, pirates, Jedi, children basically fighting, that sort of thing.
I have to cut in here. Is this an actual game or is it something you guys made up?
Oh, right. Yes, there is. I'm more than happy to plug this very small, niche, but awesome community for Brick Wars. So there is an official rulebook that you can download for free off the website, and you basically play it with your own Lego. So go to brickwars.com and have a look at it. It's a massive rulebook, as you would expect from a war game. It's lighter than Warhammer, and it's what got us into wargaming, basically. But yeah, no, it's got full-on rules, and people play it all the times at conventions, mostly Lego conventions, I think. It gets played at. But yeah, there's lots of meetups for them, and I mean, the most fun about Brick Wars is that you can make your own armies, and then you can make your own battlefields, and then when you're playing on them, you can, like, everything is fully destructible. You can break stuff apart. That's so cool, because if someone's in a building, you can blow up the building, and all the walls and stuff collapse around it, and that's one of the things that made Brick Wars really cool. And it's coming from that game where we modify the rules ourselves, because that's just what you do when you play games. Sometimes you have house rules or whatever. Over the course of like the huge amount of time we played this game, like 8 or so years or something like that, we were constantly balancing and tweaking the teams that we made, and it's from that we learned what made a game fun and also what made a game boring. And so out of all that, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to shrink this massive strategic war game experience right down into something that can fit into a board game sized box, and also something that doesn't take all night to play, because when you set up a Warhammer battlefield, or maybe not a Warhammer one, but for Brick Wars, it would take me all week to build it, half a day to play it, and then half the next day just cleaning it up and putting it all away.
That sounds pretty on par.
There must be an easy way, yeah.
Yeah, I played Warhammer 40K for probably 25 years. Just recently stopped.
similar experience, is it, or it just takes all day to set up?
Oh yeah,
all
we
night to play
actually, I have a video series on YouTube where we started an 83,000 point game on two 12-foot tables, and we had bridges and a whole
Two 12.
city. And
Oh my goodness. See, it's like when you want to get into it and you want everything to be really detailed and really nice, which of course you do. It's not fun blowing up stuff which doesn't look nice. It's like you want to put in a lot of effort, and that's where all the time comes in. So
oh yeah, it took us months to put that together. So
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from on that. So how did things change between your original ideas and concepts and then what we're seeing today on the Kickstarter as far as the game goes?
Okay, so how long has it been now? I think it's probably been like 3 years, almost 3 years, I reckon. So the very first iteration was 2 players who had a mothership with a control panel. So that was the first thing that came. They had 2 fighters, 2 bombers, and it was on a chessboard, and that was it. So the game's really come a long way since then.
I could see how that would work though.
Well, it didn't to begin with. I remember my very first game. I was like, oh, hey, I was telling my mates, oh, you got to play this. This is my new idea for a game. And we sat down and we moved ships and we rolled dice, and then that was it. It was like, oh, okay, that was not as fun as I thought it would be.
And you kind of hinted at this already, but how long did it take you to go from that original concept to what we see as Mothership today?
Okay, so I reckon it says 2 years on the project page, on the Kickstarter page, but I reckon we're coming up to about 3 years now. It took 3 years of forcing my friends to play it every week until it was fun. And it's amazing in that time what can change. Like, so many ideas look good on paper, and then you play test it, and it turns out that what you thought was great actually turns out to ruin or break the game in a way you didn't think of. And then your friends suggest something, like, oh, that's not very fun, but let's try it anyway. And it turns out to completely change the game and makes it amazing.
I think a lot of people who comment on forums and on the project pages and things, they always have their great suggestions, but they don't realize what goes into testing and things, trial and error, to get the games the way they are.
Yeah, I know.
And the game itself comes with a lot of really cool components. I know you had a picture somewhere on the page, I think, of your various models of the actual ships till they got to where they are. And the asteroids are the really cool thing that I think is pretty unique to this campaign.
Yeah, well, there was an example of me thinking, what would make this game fun to play every time you come back to it. And just like in Brick Wars, where you can make a new map every time you go to play it, or like PC real-time strategy games like Command and Conquer or Age of Empires or something like that. When you play, you can play on a different map every time, or for Age of Empires, it's a randomly generated map. And most of those games that I grew up with come with map makers, and that was always something that I just thought, like, yeah, let's make it so you can design your own map every time you go. Have a dynamic game board, and that's where the asteroids came in.
And I've seen most of the games, at least the pictures and whatnot I've seen of games in progress, usually use like 5 to 6 of the asteroid fields. And the game itself, I believe, comes with 12. So lots of options and customization there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I personally like to be a little bit frugal with the asteroids to make everything balanced or whatever. But we have had games where we've had like really heavy asteroids where it really it creates lots of choke points, and it gets very claustrophobic, and it makes like unit placement very important as well. So it's like, I know what I think's fun, but then you might get the game and want to make a maze out of it or something. So I thought, let's put lots of asteroids in there so people can do what they want with it.
I'd be really curious to try a game where like the asteroids were in a big circle with no holes and all the planets are in the middle. So you'd have to fly through the asteroid field to get to the planet.
Yeah, well, actually, we've done something similar to that. We've in the rule book there's a map suggestion where the 5th planet, which is the one that's usually of contention for everyone, is in the middle of asteroids, and that really makes for an interesting game, because you've got to make sure you get strong enough before you actually start to venture through the asteroids, because everyone's too scared to lose their ships.
But I do really like the way they came out, and I'm assuming from the pictures and thing, it's cut acrylic for those.
Yes, so the prototype's definitely cut acrylic. It's the only way I could get them the exact size I wanted. In the final game, for the standard edition, it's going to be die cut. So still be exact size, but it'll be die cut, printed board. I think like chipboard or whatever the normal board's made out of, so thick. And then the premium edition comes with silver embossed asteroids, which will look real slick on the board. So I really wanted to have the acrylic asteroids, and I begged my accountant to make it happen, but it was just way too expensive, and even for a stretch goal, it's way too expensive. So yeah, we've got the die cut asteroids at the moment.
Okay, that's a good thing to get out there then, because I do like the way the acrylic ones look, but that's kind of a shame.
Well, look,
but I understand
what?
production costs.
Yeah, like if anyone wants to actually go ahead and pay a laser cutter to, like I can give you the name of a few laser cutters I use, like one in China or whatever. I can give you the files, and you can pay for it to get it done yourself. They'll look sick, but they'll cost you probably like $100, I think, to get them all cut up. So more than the game itself.
Yeah, it happens sometimes though. But a lot of people are willing to pay really high prices to get deluxe versions of things.
Yeah, well, I've figured that out lately. So.
Maybe it's something to look at as an expansion or something down the line to add a deluxe version. But the one thing that really caught my eye about the game is the fact that everything looks so simple, and the rules are pretty simple and straightforward and easy to learn. But it makes it look like it's something you can easily pick up the basics to and teach to someone to show them how to play. But it seems like it's something that's going to take a long time to get a really winning strategy. And even then, the same strategy isn't going to work every time.
Yeah, and excuse me. That was a really hard balance to strike. So, like for example, on one hand, I wanted open-ended gameplay where you're free to move about the board and change up your strategy when you want. But on the other hand, I didn't want to overwhelm new players with so many options that they just can't figure out where to begin. That's where the resource gathering helped tie the game together. So it helps players to ramp up their abilities incrementally. So, for example, in Brick Wars that we used to play, you start out with a chosen army and a whole bunch of powers and weapons, and you can use them at any time during the game. So for us who play all the time, that was fun. But for new players, it was like, you give them a stat card and they've got all these things they can do. And, they're just like, okay, that's great. That's a lot of writing. Thanks. But in Mothership, you don't get everything at once. So everyone starts out in the same position. Everyone is equal. You only have a handful of things to do when you start the game in your first round. And it's basically move and attack a planet. But as the game progresses and you get more resources, more and more options and more abilities. And this is the cool bit, because that's when the fleets begin to deviate away from each other, and that's in their abilities. They begin to deviate away from each other. So they move away from that starting equal footing to become more customized and more unique. And that happens slowly. And I think it's this element that helps new players to grasp the vast amount of things you can do.
And that's been kind of a contested thing in the forums. I know there's a big long thread going where a lot of people want each faction or colored force to have its own starting abilities, and other people don't. And I kind of like it the way it is, that they all start balanced, and then you can add stuff as you go to make them more powerful.
Yeah, and look, I really understand why they would say that, because, I mean, when you play Age of Empires, you play Command and Conquer, it would be boring if everyone had the exact same army and there was nothing that differentiated them. But it's like when you approach it from this way, where it's like, okay, everyone starts out the same, but everyone at some point is forced to make a decision that will differentiate them from the other team. It's like a completely different. It makes for a really different dynamic that I didn't think would be fun, but in practice, it's really cool.
And I know we got, where is it? I had it up. We have 12 days, depends on when I get this up and posted, but as of now, there's 12 days left on the campaign. Is there a chance that some of our stretch goals here can make it into either a future expansion or extra add-ons later on if they're not met?
you're asking the tough questions now. For I really want like some of the stretch goals I really want, like the tray. I love the tray. I had so much fun designing that. That's why it's
The
stretch
trade
goal
does
number
look
2.
really cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. So that's why that's number 2 for me, because I really want that to be in there. See, the tray's annoying because that has setup costs that go with it and are really high. So I wouldn't probably make that as an expansion later on unless there was a huge interest and I could guarantee like a certain amount of sales or something that I could actually pay to get it made. But you know what? At the rate we're going, I think we're going to hit that one. And for the other stretch goals that I have in mind, they could easily be made as expansions or add-ons afterwards.
Yeah, the planetary exploration you've been pushing and talking to people in the comments and things about looks really interesting, and that's the kind of.
Do you want me to talk about it now?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
So
Because it looks really cool, but that's one of the ones that's higher up that I'm worried that if we don't get enough funding that we won't see, but I would really like to see later on, even if it doesn't get to that point, which I hope it does.
The planetary exploration is something that I'm really excited to give everyone a bit of a background on, and I guess it's probably easy to talk about than it is to type it all down. But yeah, that one could easily be added later on. So what the planetary exploration does is it gives you the ability to explore the planets that you capture. So when you explore your planets, you uncover some kind of ancient alien relic or something like that, some sort of artifact that can help assist your fleet in overcoming all the other players on the board. The cool thing is that relic or that artifact that you uncover on that planet is tied to that planet and it's yours and it's unique to you for the entire game. But the thing is that because it's tied to that planet, if somebody else comes along and steals that planet back off you, they get the artifact and they get the relic, and they'll start getting that upgrade from then on. So the game before this is that every planet has equal value. They all give you the same resources each. But now suddenly some planets become more valuable, and suddenly there's different points of contention on the board, and it just. We played a game with it the other night, and it just made a complete difference. It was amazing how cool it was that you didn't know which of the planets on the board were going to be unique, and because there's about 12 different I think 10 different relics that are possible in the game, but there's only about 5 planets on the board. You don't know which relics you're going to get during the game, so every game will be different as well from that point of view.
And this is the perfect kind of thing that makes an add-on or an optional rule too, is that the game's perfectly playable without it to teach and get people used to the basics. And then something like this you can add so much more to the game, and it doesn't really change the core.
Yeah.
Which is, like I said, that's one of the things I really want to see, and I'm hoping, I'm pretty sure we're going to hit that, but just in case we don't, I would love to see it come out in the future.
Well, I mean, and this is for me. Mothership is like this is my baby. This is my creative. This is all of my skills put together in this one game, and I want to see this happen more than anything. So if we don't hit that goal, I'll try and figure out a way to make it happen. Because I want to play with it just like everyone else wants to. Because it's a cool part of the game, just like the random event die as well is a cool part of the game. It'll just adds that extra little bit of flavor to it.
They're so close to funding already, and usually the last day or so of a campaign makes a huge jump. So I definitely, it's definitely.
Yes, I know. We're all hoping for that as well.
But sadly, as I've mentioned before, not really on the podcast, but I was late getting on board this one. I was actually doing some play testing for the Ceti guys.
Oh, and, yeah, I can't wait to play that. I've backed that one as well. And Mike and Stan from Ceti, if I don't know if they're still selling the game or anything, but theirs looks amazing, and they really helped me with my campaign to get that up and running, and they gave me advice and help on that. So they're awesome guys, absolutely fantastic. Them too.
Yeah, they've run a really good campaign too. A lot of interaction with the people. They were selling it post Kickstarter on their website. I don't know if they're still doing that, but yeah, I did a lot of play testing for them, print and play. We tried to get a prototype ready for International Tabletop Day and just missed it. But while I was doing all of that, unfortunately, I missed the beginning of your campaign, so I missed out on getting a test copy of it. And
it's annoying because I was desperately looking for people to play it as well, so you just missed out.
Yeah, well, you hooked me up with a website, and I got myself listed on there. So hopefully, I'm on a
You'll
list where
get some
people
more
can
in the
find
future.
me in the
Yep.
future. Yep. But definitely, when I do get my copy, I will be doing a review of it and posting that up as well.
That'll be cool. I'm sure lots of people will be doing that. And back to what you said before about Mike and Stan ran a great campaign with lots of interaction with their backers. I've been getting a lot of comments from people saying via Kickstarter, they're saying, "Oh, it's so good that you're talking to us or interacting with us or whatever." I thought that was really strange because I was like, all you people want to give me money, like why wouldn't I want to talk to you? Why wouldn't I want to listen to everyone and talk to them? So I don't know what other Kickstarter campaigns are like, but I reckon talking to everyone who wants to play a game is like my favorite part of this whole thing. It's so cool that everyone's getting excited to play this game. So I think you're all awesome. If you're listening and you've backed it, you're awesome.
And if you're listening and you haven't backed it, go check it out.
And then you will be awesome. Well, look, you might already be awesome, but it's hard to tell, really. Send us some money and then I'll decide for you.
I think a lot of that viewpoint people have of Kickstarters comes from, it depends on the person who's putting out the Kickstarter. These big companies, and I'm going to name names because I do so many different interviews and Kickstarters, I don't care, but big one that rings to mind is Cool Mini or Not. I back a lot of their games. I love Arcadia Quest. And they have a bad habit of doing great updates throughout a campaign. They'll show you new stuff, cool things coming out. And then the second the campaign's done, that's it. You never hear from them again. And they'll post, if you're lucky, once every month or every other month to tell you how production's going. And that's it. Whereas when you work with a smaller startup company or a single individual like you, it tends to be, this is your dreams to get this game to come, so you're more willing to spend the time to interact with people and then take that feedback and advice.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that comes from. That and every Kickstarter Cool Mini or Not has put out has been delayed by like 6 months. They finally acknowledged that they're being a little optimistic with their dates, so hopefully that'll change. But the last couple indie-type games that I've backed have actually come out. The very last one here was Centauri Saga, which is actually in the mail right now. It's supposed to be here this week. And they were within a month of their projected date. So kind of stoked about that.
Hope that's me. That's what we're planning for.
Shipping is what killed me on that one. This week in the States was a holiday weekend, so it messed up. All these other people are getting theirs and doing their reviews and unboxings, and mine's not here yet. It's driving me nuts. But, oops, and I forgot to turn my phone off for once. Bad me. Now, what was the projected fulfillment date here? Do you have an estimate of when you think we're gonna...
Yeah, so that's we're estimated to get it in everyone's hands by January 2017 at the latest. I'm planning hopefully before then. My accountant will probably kill me for mentioning that, but anyway, that's what I want at the moment. I was hoping it to. I'm sort of aiming for around Christmas-ish, but it'll be latest by January 2017. Of course, if it happens any quicker or later, I'll let everyone know by the updates.
Yeah, and we'll put out for everybody that, as with any kind of game like this, there can always be delays in production. A mold might come back and not be right and have to be redone and that kind of thing. So there's always possible delays.
I've been prepared for the whole, quality testing period, and I hope that my what's the word I'm looking for? My OCD-ness about having everything perfect is not going to get in the way of that, because I'm sure the dear manufacturer is going to get frustrated for me to keep sending things back here. Nope, change it. This is wrong.
Well, as I mentioned to you off air, actually, you have one of the most polished prototypes I've seen of a lot of games. Usually most places ship either without the tokens, you have to use your own, or they have just wooden meeple type things as stand-ins for models and things. Your prototype is more polished than a lot of places' final games are, so I don't think you have too much to worry about.
Yeah, you're like the third person to mention that to me, and I don't know. I just because I mean, like, I'm the graphic designer, I'm the artist, I'm the a mechanics person, and I'm the rule book doer, I'm everything. So if, like, I want something done, I just do it. And if I want it printed, I know the printer to go down to and make it look slick. And I've got a great guy not too far away from me. He does all the 3D printing, so if I think of something new, he'll just do it and test it and get things done. So maybe that's why, I don't know. You need friends. You need to know people with 3D printers, I reckon.
High-res 3D printers, too.
Mm.
Now, one of the things we started talking about actually before we went on air is that the difficulties of running a campaign like this from Australia. I don't know. I think you mentioned it at the top of the show, but if nobody's guessed by now by your accent, you're from Australia. And a lot of the big gaming shows are North American based.
Yeah, well, it would be cool to go to a convention like that. I have no idea what that's like to even to go to something like that. I think I don't even know what the biggest convention we have here is. I mean, I've been to like a couple of really small shows, but it's nothing like you guys have in the States or in Europe. Nowhere near that big.
Yeah, they have a few big ones in Europe too. I'm US based, so I tend to focus on those. But yeah, just the difficulties of running a campaign and trying to promote a game like this when you're on the opposite side of the planet is where all the big game shows are.
Well, I mean, that's the coolest thing about the internet. Like I mean, I did my best to take it to gaming shops here and took it to a convention or two, and like, I don't know, you chuck it up on social media, and if people like it, they'll share it. So I guess that's sort of the best you can do when you're so far away in the middle of nowhere.
It seems to have done pretty well too. Board Game Geek and Kickstarter obviously help as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it's like the whole community, the whole board game community. They're like, everyone's awesome. Everyone's fantastic. So I couldn't have done it without, everyone sharing it and talking about it and getting excited about it. So.
And I kind of mentioned earlier, the Kickstarter has about just under 2 weeks left, depending on when I get this up. So get over there and check it out if it looks like something you're interested in. If people want to get more information about Mothership, where should they head? I know you have a website as well as the campaign.
Yes. Yep. So I probably all of the information gets updated first on Kickstarter at the moment. So just search Mothership on Kickstarter. You can go to mothership-game.com. If you miss out on the Kickstarter, we'll be selling like copies and extras and add-ons and stuff on the website as well. You can also follow me on Twitter at PSM Sanderson. I had to really think hard about that one. Yeah, I think that's it. And Facebook's there somewhere as well. Facebook's in all that. It doesn't matter. You follow me on Twitter, you'll get everything. I think all this social media stuff's new to me. So I just post on everything. And yeah.
I'm anti-Facebook, so I don't have an account. I don't do anything there. But definitely there is a page there, and there's actually some community goals that involve Facebook.
Yes.
Which kind of sucks because I can't help with those. But
just make some fake ones and like it or whatever. It'll defeat the purpose of the social goals, which is to let real people know about it. Oh, whatever. I don't know. That's what I'd do if I wanted to get a social goal met. I'd just make fake accounts.
And there was something else I was just looking at. Oh, we never actually mentioned that right now on the Kickstarter, there's 2 different versions of the game available.
Yes, so there's a 4-player version and there's a 6-player version. The 6-player is considered the premium copy because it's got a couple of extra things in there, like some premium dice and silver asteroids as well. And those dice as well, I'm really super hoping to get the very last. You got to have like a really high stretch goal, right, Bill? You got to have like a pie in the sky kind of stretch goal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. If we get $100 billion, we're going to do this. So our plan is, and this is something that I probably won't reveal till next week or something like that, but we're hoping to get metal dice for those ones. Nice. So we have a fantastic manufacturer who will make us some custom metal dice, and they look amazing.
Now, are they going to keep that look that they have in the image you showed there? The preview image on the Kickstarter?
That's right. So they will do that preview image, that render will be what the metal dice will look like.
Because I love the font that's on there and the fact that the D6 is square. So many places use those round ones, which, I don't know, some people like them, but they tend to roll off the table and drive me nuts.
Yeah, I don't like the round ones either. So yeah, these will be square, and they look so cool. And if you guys get me up to, I think it was like, man, I think it might be 60 or 70 grand, and I gotta look back at the numbers, and that would be awesome.
We won't hold you to any of those.
No, good.
But and then those dice are available, I think, as a separate pledge, if I remember.
Yes, that's right. So if you pledge for the dice, if they get upgraded via the stretch goal, you'll get the upgraded ones as well. So that'll be
Very
really
nice.
cool for everyone who's bought those.
I don't know. I've never actually run a campaign, so I don't know how difficult it is to do add-ons and things. But it would be really cool to see those as an add-on for the higher tiers. So, like, I plan on getting a copy of the premium game with the extra 2 players. I would love to get an extra set or 2 of those dice so we don't have to pass them around the table.
Oh yeah, definitely. You just add the amount to your pledge. So I think it's like an extra. Oh, I'm not gonna pull the number off my head. Let me go find it.
I think I have it right here. $9 or more for the dice.
$9 extra. So add $9 extra to the game. We'll send you
Okay.
some extra dice to go with it as well.
I wasn't
that's the
sure
same
because
if you
everybody
want,
does that kind of stuff different. So
Yeah, well, that's how we'll be doing it. So if you want extra planets as well, extra ships, I'm kind of hoping. I don't know. I'll have to check with the manufacturers. We haven't really talked too much about this with them, but I really want more than 6 colors. Just personally, I think it'd be cool if we had,
you do have
black
those
and
listed right on the campaign. I'm just dumb and apparently missed it.
well, yeah, I want more than those colors that are there. So I would love to see some black ships and stuff as well. So I don't know if anyone wants to have more than a 6-player game, because some people have already suggested to me that they want to play Mothership on their own, like. You can get like big hex mats for space games.
Yeah.
They want to be able to play it on that, and I'm like, yeah, go for it. And so
Well, one thing that I'd like to mention, I know this brought up somewhere in the forums or someplace, I remember seeing it, but I've seen it with other games too, is to keep in mind people who have colorblind issues. Because
Yes.
all of your ships are the same model in different colors, like the reds and greens sometimes for people, or the orange and red, the blue and purple tend to blend together. So
yes, that's an issue that has it's been brought up with me with, like, I reckon literally every public playtest I've done. Everyone's mentioned color blindness. So I'm sorry I haven't actually probably addressed it too much in the actual project page, but after the campaign has ended, we're gonna see what we can do about mixing and matching colors or like standardizing them. So don't be surprised if the colors do change, but they'll be, we'll do our best to work in with those who are colorblind. Which
yeah, like you were saying, like a black and a white would be great to throw in there to.
yeah, I think it would look cool to have a black and a white one anyway. So.
But yes, the blue and the purple seem to be really similar to me, but it could just be the blue ones are tiny little pictures, so it's hard to see.
Yeah, that, and plus it's the render on the program that I used to make
True.
it as well. So that's all going to easily change probably. So
Just wanted to bring that up while we were talking about it.
yeah, no, it's a good point.
So yeah, there is a bunch of add-ons already listed on the page. I just apparently missed them. They're further down than I looked. And you even have the silver embossed asteroids from the premium edition there.
Yeah, so if those who want extra asteroids for whatever reason, if 12 tiles is not enough, you could get some more to double it.
And one thing I mentioned to you, I think it was in a private message or whatnot. No, actually, I believe it was in one of the updates where you mentioned that the premium was going to come with the larger board.
Yes, so the largest 6-player board is now going to be double-sided. So on the other side of it, it will have the 4-player sized board. So it'll just shrink it by I think 2 or 3 hexes all the way around. So that's a big bit shaved off it. But for 4 players, it's the perfect size for 4 players. So that's exciting. Those are suggestions as well. Like, that's something I didn't think about, and everyone suggested it in the updates and comments, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'll check with the manufacturer. Yep, we can do it. Let's do it. So that's another cool thing about Kickstarter I like.
The one thing that came to mind as soon as I saw the option for a 6-player, and I know it would delay things and cost you a ton in development and stuff and production and whatnot, but
Yep.
to have the board as an actual hexagon shaped so that every player could start in their own corner or on their own flat edge.
Yes.
But that, I can see where that would add so much to things.
Well, the problem is at the moment is, and this is something I'm sort of struggling with because I keep adding so much to it. But it's the amount of room I've got in the box to add like thick board-sized boards. So like the thick chipboards that are like quad folding boards, those kinds of things. So it was a choice between doing that or having a thinner board that's bigger that actually is a hexagon but folds up into 4. But then I'd have to compromise on the quality of the board, and it would be a lot thinner and it would move around on your desk or whatever when you put it out. So
that and trying to make a hexagon board fold up properly to fit in the box, probably a pain in the butt.
I reckon I could make it happen.
But it was just something that came to mind, because my only concern with a square board and 6 players is that if you start 1 player in each corner or whatnot, those extra 2 players have to start somewhere.
I'll tell you what, we've played lots of 6-player games, but every time we've played, we've only done teams. The reason for that is because, I mean, a 6-player free-for-all does go for a long time. So compared to the 4-player game, 6 players can end up going for 3 hours, 4 hours, which for us flew by anyway. But team games is a lot of fun, and every time we've played it, it's either been 2v2v2 or 3v3. So we've started on either side of the 6-player board. So that's never really been an issue for us. As far as those who want a hexagon-shaped board, if there's enough interest with it, I'm more than happy to figure out how to do it and sell it as something you can buy after the campaign's ended. Or even I'm happy to give out the with all the print and play, because the print and play option is available to everyone who's pledging. I can add files in that you can print out yourself, so you can have as big a board as you want in any shape that you want as well. But it'd be cool to have the artwork on it too.
Yes, definitely. I'm just weird like that. I don't mind long games either. One of my favorite games of all time is Firefly, and if you've ever played, I don't know if you've ever played that one, but it takes forever.
Yeah, look, I'm a bit of, it depends what mood I'm in and sort of how busy work is that week. But yeah, you like the games that go all night sometimes, and sometimes you just want a quick half an hour game that doesn't go forever. So.
True. Yeah, that game has a mechanic where every square you move on the board, you actually have to draw out of a deck to see what happens. So.
Oh wow, that would take forever.
It's the first few times you play it does, but then you get later and you know what the cards are just by the image, so you flip it and you're like, oh, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. I can ignore that one, and then so the first few times you play, and the game supports up to I think 9 players now, and. We usually figured on an estimate, you usually figure about an hour a player. So if you're playing with a full group of people. But again, like I said, sometimes you like a short game, sometimes you like a long one. I never even thought about the whole team play version.
Well, it's the longness for the length of the game isn't as much of an issue as it is that dragging feeling you get at the 5-hour, 4-hour mark. That is something that really kills me in Monopoly, Brick Wars. It's you're just I want to go do something else. That's something I really wanted to get rid of with Mothership. The last thing I want you to be doing is thinking, oh, I want to not be playing this game. I want to go watch TV. I want to go play Smash Brothers or something. That's something that we would always be doing. We'd go, all right, that's it. Everyone dies with a nuke. Let's all go play Smash Brothers, and we'd go do that. So
definitely.
One of the things that happened with Mothership is we made sure that the game is still fun all the way up until the very end.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you want a quicker, faster game, which is another part of the thing that kind of drew me to this game to start with too. It's nice to have options.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered everything we were going to.
Lovely.
Again, the game, if we haven't said the name of it enough, is Mothership. You can check it out on Kickstarter. Where did the website go? I had it written down. Oh, and I lost
Mothership-game.com.
There you go.
Hyphen game or dash game? I don't know. Am I supposed to say dash or hyphen?
I think we use dash game in the States.
Dash.
But
okay.
Everybody knows what a hyphen is, I think.
I hope so. It's a dash.
But I'll put it also in the show notes, a link to the Kickstarter.
Oh, yes, of course. There's in the description below. Click on it.
I'll put a link to the Kickstarter page as well as the page for the game. And again, I said there's just over a week, about a week and a half left, depending on when this airs and when you hear it. So definitely check it out, support the game, check out some of the videos. I'm pretty sure if you're on the fence, once you see one of Peter's promotional videos, he'll push you over if you have any kind of sense of humor.
if you think I'm funny, there's some people that think I'm funny. There's a lot of people that don't think I'm funny.
Really? I
Yeah.
haven't met anyone that thought you weren't funny.
Well, I don't know, the trailer, the animated trailer. I took a week off work to make that trailer. Every day I got up and really early and made that. I wanted it to be a lot sillier, a lot sort of stupid, but I was afraid that people wouldn't sort of get the humor or get it at all. So I think Aussie humor is very I've been told that Aussie humor is a lot drier compared to humor in the States, and a lot more self-depreciating as well.
No,
Aussie
come on.
humor.
We all love Hugh Jackman. But does he have to be in every single X-Men movie? Oh, wait.
Well, I couldn't think of a better Wolverine, so I would say yes.
Oh, he did great for the role. It's just I'm now we're getting off on completely opposite things. But as a fan of the X-Men, that Wolverine was not in every X-Men. He was only there every now and then. He left for long periods of time.
That's true. Yes, I guess so.
But aside from that,
From
yeah, I showed my wife the videos and she laughed hysterically, and then she
good.
wasn't so mad at me for backing because I've already backed so many games this month.
It's Kickstarter's bad because you give your credit card details to someone and then you forget about it until, well, I do anyway. I forget about it until 30 days later. I'm like, what the hell did I pay $50 for? Oh, right, it's that.
I actually have so many I'm backing right now. I have a spreadsheet on my computer to keep track of what I paid for what optional buy-ins I paid, and when they're supposed to be delivered, so I know what I'm looking for.
See,
I've
I don't.
forgotten in the
That's a
past.
fantastic idea.
Yeah, I've forgotten in the past and gotten a box in the mail. I'm like, I don't remember ordering anything. I'm like, oh yeah, last summer I bought this.
For emotional IQ, I was like, there's a game that just came out and that just got delivered. I was like, why did I buy 2 boxes of this for? I don't remember ordering 2, but apparently I got 2. So.
And then I always forget what add-ons I bought. So then some games ship them in the original box. So you're like, why do I have all these extra pieces? And like, oh yeah. So.
It's funny you mention. Actually, I'm hoping to have everyone's stuff fit in the box as well. All the if anyone's, I don't know how many people are buying add-ons yet because I haven't sent out surveys, but your ships, extra ships, and asteroids and dice should all fit in the same box. I don't want you to have 2 separate boxes for it. It should all be in one.
It depends on how many they buy and if we get that cool insert, because there's only
well,
so
look, if you
many
buy
that'll fit the
100,
insert.
you're gonna have to have a separate bag.
Yeah.
So.
But I do love the look of that insert. If anybody hasn't seen that yet, too, it's on the Kickstarter page. There's pictures of it. And it's basically, I don't want to promote another company, but a lot of companies like Broken Token and things make custom inserts that have the removable trays and things you can use at the table. This one's already comes like that. So
because those things are cool, aren't they? I mean, everyone wants them because they're cool, and I'm thinking, hey, for my dream game that I've always wanted to make, why don't I make a cool insert as well? Like, didn't care how much it costs. I'm just like, hey, let's make it happen. So,
and it has room to support the 6-player expansion, and it has room for there's little token boxes that come out and the deck things that come out and you can play with them right at the table. So I love
yes. So because when we play and you like discarding cards and you got a whole pile in there, it gets so messy by the end of it. So yeah, the tray splits off into a card holder that you get to have. Oh, and everyone who keeps asking, yes, the card holder will fit sleeved cards as well.
Yeah, I think you mentioned they get a little bit taller than it when they're full, but you go through them fast enough that.
Yeah, and the width of it as well. So I think some brands of sleeves make it really thick and give it square edges as well instead of rounded corners. So yeah, that's all gonna be taken into consideration when we're doing the final copy. So don't worry about that.
I even forgot to ask that one because everybody always asks me that. So, all right, we've gone on longer than we were planning to. Thanks to our time difference here, you're way late to get to sleep for work tomorrow. So we're gonna let you go. Is there anything?
I don't care. They can. I'm just gonna be looking at. I'm gonna stumble into work and get on the computer and answer questions from backers. That's what I was doing all week, and then probably get on Reddit or something. Look at pictures of cats on Imager. Of course, if anyone from work is listening to this, I don't think he will be, but
he's gonna work very hard and diligently.
Work very hard. That's right.
Is there anything you want to say to our listeners out there, your backers out there who are listening in, or anybody else before we go?
I think it's cool. I just think you're awesome that you looked at my game and want to give me money. I can't get over that. So you're all really cool. Anyone else who like hasn't backed my game yet, if you go on Kickstarter, and you see someone like me who's doing it, even just chipping in $1 just to go, hey, you're awesome. Like I like what you're doing. That means a lot to. I mean, it meant a lot to me anyway. So don't ever think that $1 doesn't mean much. It's cool even just to have the thought of, just a passing thought of, yeah, I like what you're doing. So.
And even a dollar donation adds another backer number on there, which makes other people look at it and go, hey, that's got a lot of people. Maybe there's something going there.
That's a big difference as well. That's right.
So I know I do a lot of dollar backing on things that I'm not sure of, and then as the campaign goes on and I get more information and things, I usually bump them up. Or when I'm low on funds, that's another big thing with Kickstarter. It doesn't charge you until the campaign is over. So if you see one that's got a month or so left on it, you can kick in and then adjust your amount as you go. So if you don't have the funds right now, you can add them later.
Or you do what I do and just forget that you even pledged until it's too late.
All right, well, we will let you go. Thank you for taking time to join us today.
Thanks, Bill.
Can't wait to get my hands on the game and play. Hopefully I get a print and play copy to do some play testing and maybe a review of at some point.
Yes, and also print and play comes with all the 3D files as well. That's another community suggestion we added in. So have all of my hard work delivered to you in tiny little kilobyte files for you to print off on your 3D printers.
If I had one, I would love to. But thanks again, and
Thanks, Bill.
We hope to hear more from you and Mothership as time goes on.
Thank you very much.
Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of Game On. Thanks for tuning in. As always, feel free to contact me with your questions, comments, suggestions. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or anything like that, you can reach me at my email at trueflight_EQ2@yahoo.com or via any of the social media that I posted at the beginning through my Twitter, my YouTube, and any of that. Also, I'm currently in the market looking for a new co-host to permanently co-host a show with me. If you're interested in that, contact me and I can get you on here as a guest for an episode. We'll see how things work out and go from there. Till then, we'll see you in a few weeks for our next episode, and have fun, game on, and we'll see you then.